Hello, a very warm welcome along to Sportsbet TV. My name is Paul Alster, and I'm thrilled to be here with you, able to take a look ahead and give my expert views on what may happen in the world's greatest steeplechase, the Randox Grand National. That's going to be run at Aintree on Saturday. I have two recommendations in the race. There are 40 runners, and it offers pretty good opportunities to bet each way, which includes having your horse come in the first six. Now, I know quite a lot of people will be looking at this bulletin that may only bet once a year, so I'll be explaining a little bit about what is going to be happening. I am a broadcaster and journalist who's been involved with horse racing for 35 years. And if you want to know a little bit more about my credentials, you can find those in the description box just below this video. And also, if you're new, remember to press the subscribe button. It's free. It keeps you in touch with all my tips. And if you're interested in following tips that have done so terrifically well, particularly over the last 6 months since we started this service, including big winners at odds of 80 to 1 and 66 to 1 and 20 to 1, 18, 16 and plenty more, then staying in touch is well worthwhile. And also, of course, many thanks to our sponsor of the 3 Grand National Meeting bulletins, that is the stakeshop.co.uk. They've been terrific supporters of ours. They've been following the bulletins and making a few quid by backing my tips, and you can benefit as well by checking out their website and the fantastic products that they have on offer. So thanks again to them for their sponsorship. Now on to the Grand National. It is the world's greatest horse race. It is over these days the extended 4¼ miles. They'll jump 30 of those huge spruce fences, still very big fences despite having been reduced a bit in size in recent years. It's the dream of every National Hunt jockey, trainer and owner to just have a runner in the Grand National, never mind win it. And of course, to win it is something quite extraordinary. And of course, for those of us that are not directly involved in racing and not able to train or ride or own, then you have the opportunity to have a part of the horse, at least for a small while, during the race itself. And over the years, we have seen some remarkable successes. Of course, the mighty Red Rum winning 3 times is the greatest Grand National horse of all. In recent years, Tiger Roll won it twice. And amazingly, it is 40 years ago this weekend that Alder won the Grand National under Bob Champion, a remarkable success story for both the horse and jockey, overcoming incredible difficulties. And that went on to be a major feature movie starring John Hurt Champions, of course. There have been so many great races. And of course, 20 years ago was that ridiculous Grand National that was won by Red Marauder, in which only 4 horses of the 40 finished because the ground was so bad and they were all getting so exhausted they were pulling up. But Red Marauder was a remarkable winner. 20 years ago, it barely seems like it. Now this year, we have a very good renewal of the Grand National. And what you're looking for in a horse that's going to give you a chance and a run for your money is a horse with stamina to last the marathon trip of the extended 4¼ miles, courage from the horse, and of course the jockey is pretty scary, agility and real jumping ability. And on top of all of that, probably the most important ingredient is luck in running. You want to be lucky that horses don't fall in front of your horse and bring him down, or that his path gets blocked, or so many things can happen in what is a quite remarkable and sometimes ridiculous race. Now this year, there are so many with chances, but there is an outstanding favourite, and that is a horse called Cloth Cap. Now Cloth Cap has been hot favourite to win the National since he won the Hennessy Gold Cup at Newbury at the end of November. He then went on to win again at Kelso more recently. The weights for this race, this is a handicap race, which means that the best horses at the time the weights are allotted have the highest weights to carry, and those considered to have less ability have lower weights. Now, if Cloth Cap had been able to be assessed after his Kelso win, he would have been carrying a stone more than he is today. So technically, he is at a big advantage. And if he stays, he is a very, very likely winner. His odds are around 9-2, something like that, which is fairly short odds, 4.5 to 1. And I'm sure a lot of people that are only betting small money wouldn't want to be playing at those odds, giving all the risks involved, but he does have a serious chance. I'll just name one or two others that I think are interesting. Discorama is a horse I've been interested in for a while. I think he'll run a big race. He'll stay. The ground will not be a problem to him. The going is good to soft with a drying wind. So it's going to be quite a quick Grand National this year. I think Burrows Saint is very interesting for Willie Mullins. He's won an Irish Grand National and he's a very classy horse, and he's got Willie's son Patrick riding, who's one of the best amateur riders in the business. It looks as though the Welsh Grand National winner Secret Reprieve will not get into the race. He's one of the reserves, and at the time of this recording on Friday morning, he needs a few horses to be declared non-runners by 1 o'clock on Friday in order to get into the race. So I fear he may not run, in which case he may well go to Ayr for the Scottish National coming up in the very near future. And one other one who I think will be the subject of a major public gamble, and that is Minella Times, who is one of 7 horses in the ownership of leading national hunt owner J.P. McManus, who loves winning this race. He's won this race before. And Minella Times is going to be ridden by the great Rachel Blackmore, who bids to become the first female rider to win the Grand National. Now, Rachel is a wonderful jockey. She was top jockey at the Cheltenham Festival a few weeks ago, the first woman to achieve that feat. And I know a lot of women around Britain and around the world will be cheering her and the other 2 lady riders on in this race. But I think Rachel has the best chance among them on Minella Times. Now I'll come to my 2 selections. They're both pretty big odds. And but just before I do, I just want to mention one thing, because I saw a wonderful thing on the social media, which was a great photograph of one of the runners in the race called Definitely Red, who's trained by Brian Ellison. And the Yard posted this picture of the horse giving his trainer a hug. The connection between so many of these horses and trainers and jockeys and stable lads, who must not be forgotten, they do the hardest work of all, is quite remarkable. These animals are loved. They're given wonderful treatment, and they treat like rock stars, really. And it was just a lovely picture, as you can see here, of Definitely Red hugging trainer Brian Ellison. I don't think he'll win, but he could run well. Now to my 2 selections. The first is called Taking Risks. Was there ever a horse a better name to win a Grand National? Well, he's trained by Nicky Richards at Greystoke Castle, the place where they filmed the Tarzan movies. It is there, Greystoke, where Nicky Richards trains in the grounds of the castle. And the horse will be ridden by Sean Quinlan. And Sean rode this horse to victory, as you can see here, in the Scottish Grand National in 2019. So he's a horse who's proven in big races, over marathon distances, and he goes really well on this kind of surface. He's also won the Rehearsal Chase, which is another very good race. 12 years old. He's getting a little bit old, but not too old to win a Grand National. And he has a lovely racing weight of 10 stone, 7 pounds to carry. And now in November of 2020, earlier this season, he returned after having a breathing operation just to help him get his air through the lungs just a little bit easier, and ran a good 4th to a horse called Yorkhill that I actually tipped, who won at 66 to 1. It was a memorable day. Now, since then, Taking Risks has gone on to win the Sky Bet Chase at Doncaster, which is a very good race indeed. He beat a horse called I Ride, who's really classy, and was placed at the Cheltenham Festival. And the horse actually runs here off a mark of 150, which suggests he's probably better now than he's ever been. I think he has a lot going for him. He has the stamina, he has the jumping ability, and if he gets the luck in running, Taking Risks, I'm expecting to run very well for the north of England. And his odds at the time of this recording, the best odds on offer, are 4-0, 40 to 1, and that is each way. And Bet365 are offering those odds, and that's for 5 places. Now, if you're relatively new to punting, you've got to look around the market and see what different bookmakers are offering. Some will be offering 6 places, some will be offering bigger odds. So keep your eyes out and try and bet with a bookmaker with a best odds guarantee. That means whatever odds you take, if the starting price is bigger, you'll get paid at the bigger odds. So do look out for that when you place your bets. So my first of two selections, two chances for me in the Grand National, is Taking Risks for Nicky Richards and Sean Quinlan. Now the second is even bigger odds, and his name is Talk is Cheap. And Talk is Cheap is trained by Alan King at Barbary Castle, and Tom Cannon will be riding. Now this horse is a little bit younger than Taking Risks. He's a 9-year-old. Again, he has a decent racing weight of 10 stone 12. He's a winner of 5 of his 20 career races. And significantly, the ground is coming right for him. He's a horse who doesn't go particularly well on soft or heavy ground, which we have for most of the winter national hunt season. He's another horse who's had a breathing surgery to help him get his breath through just a little bit easier. And the most significant thing about this horse is that he's only once in his life run beyond 3 miles. And remember that the Grand National is over the extended 4¼ miles. And that one occasion was at Sandown in April of 2019 when he ran in the Bet365 Gold Cup, which is the race that most of us seasoned racing fans still call the Whitbread Gold Cup. And he ran a remarkable race, absolutely bolting up. He won there by a wide margin, by 10 lengths, beating the young master. And to me, it's remarkable that the connections with this horse haven't run him over marathon trips again since then. Well, maybe now is the time. He's rated 155, and while he hasn't been in the very best of form so far this season, he hasn't had the marathon distance, and he hasn't had the decent ground that he's going to get on Saturday in the Grand National. And I think that will help his cause greatly. Also, if you like to try and pick out the colours in running, he's got very eye-catching colours like a chessboard, black and white checks with bright yellow sleeves. So you should be able to spot Talk is Cheap. Now, he is offered a general offer by nearly all the firms, and it could go bigger, 66 to 1 each way. So even if he comes in the first 6, 5th or 6th, you're going to win quite a lot of money if you bet him each way, which is to win or to come in the first 6 places. So that is Talk is Cheap, the second of my selections in the Grand National for Alan King and Tom Cannon. Now, regular followers of this tipping service will know that I've been tipping earlier this week in the racing at the Grand National meeting. This bulletin recorded before the runners have taken their chance on Friday, but on Thursday we had 2 runners. Unfortunately, Green Salt didn't go in the Fox Hunters Chase, where I fancied a turn up, and it turned out that a 66 to 1 shot did win the race. It's such a shame Green Salt didn't go, but the other 2 did. And if you followed my advice to look for the value with the places, then you would have come up with an each way place double, which for a £10 each way double would have brought a profit of £109.20. That was Barnaviddaun, first of all, who ran a great race in the Aintree Hurdle. He was really unlucky, I thought. He would probably have finished at least second, travelling well into the straight, having been left in front when the Irish horse Unseated Rider at the end of the back straight. He wasn't expecting to be in front, and then he got cannoned into by the loose horse, which was really put him off his stride. Eventually, he just ran out of steam after that, just getting run out of third, finishing 4th, but with quite a few firms paying 4 places, including the one I highlighted at 12 to 1. It was a profit there, as it was with Grey Diamond, who I recommended at 14 to 1. He was back down to 8 to 1, ran a really good race, chasing the front-running eventual winner, just getting tired going to the final fence. He finished 5th, but that was good enough for place money in that big field of handicap chasers. So it was a profitable start to the Aintree Festival. Now, after much thought, I've decided not to go with a couple of horses who I have been watching closely this season. The first is Barnaviddaun, who I tipped you earlier in the season, and he won at 12 to 1 for us. He's now with David Bridgewater. He's due to run, but I'm just not sure about him stepping up to 3 miles there in the 1:45 race. You can take a look and decide for yourself if you think he can win first time out for David Bridgewater. The other one is Real Deal, a horse that I backed anti-post for Cheltenham, but he didn't get there because all the horses in the stable were under a cloud. They had a virus. He's stepping up to Grade 1 company in the 225. He's a horse I really like, but I've just got this concern that he may have missed work, and that with the stable not having had a winner since they had that virus. In fact, it was a faulty batch of feed or something like that. I'm going to lead Real Deal. Now, the first one I will be tipping you, as well as the Grand National, is in the 335 at Aintree. It's the Grade 1 Stayers Hurdle. It's a terrific race. I'm sure lots of people will be fancying Time Hill and Paisley Park, two great stayers, and I'm sure they're going to go well. But I'm sticking with Lisnagorowska, the horse I tipped you for the Stayers Hurdle at Cheltenham, who was going well until he fell at the 7th. He's trained by Rebecca Curtis and ridden by Rachel Blackmore, so it's very much girl power here. All girls involved with Lisnagorowska, and he's a very good horse with a terrific trainer and jockey combination. He, of course, is the former winner of the Stayers Hurdle. I think he's got a lot going for him. He'll be fine on the ground. And of course, he didn't have a full race at Cheltenham, having only got halfway. So I think he's going to run a massive race. And each way, 11 to 1 offered at the time of this recording for 4 places with William Hill. And I think that's very good value. He may well drift, because I think both Time Hill and Paisley Park will be popular public horses. So that's Lisnagorowska, 335 Aintree, 11 to 1 each way. Now in the 4:15, the race before the Grand National, the 3 mile 1 furlong handicap chase, it's Grade 3. There are quite a few horses that are of interest here. They include Happy Go Lucky, trained by Kim Bailey, who was a really good second to Vintage Clouds at the Cheltenham Festival, and he's only gone up £2. He's likely to be the clear favourite. But the horse I'm recommending here is a horse who I actually was going to put up for the Grand National, but he hasn't made the cut as far as I'm aware. I don't think he's going to get in. He's one of the reserves, and his name is Fagan. He's trained by Alex Hales, who I've tipped one of his horses on Friday in the Topping Trophy, and is the mount of Harry Bannister, who's a good young Yorkshire-based jockey. Now, he's a horse who's been around a while, as Fagan. He's a classy sort. He was second in a Grade 1 back in the day to You Know What I Mean, Harry, who's a terrific hurdler. He was also favourite for the 2018 Scottish Grand National, but he didn't run his race on that occasion, and the trainer could just not explain it. This is a horse, though, who has been in decent form of late since he's returned to action. He did miss quite a long while. He was off the course for well over a season, and he put up a really eye-catching performance when winning at Newbury last time out. Absolutely hacked up there. That was on heavy ground, but he does go well on decent ground too. And although he's got a £10 higher mark, I think he's arguably well in on the pick of his form, and the stable is in form. And I think this horse has been trained to the minute with a view for the Grand National. And I can see him running a really big race in the 4:15 and gaining compensation for connections. Now, he also is available at 11 to 1 each way at the time of this recording with Bet Victor, and that is for 4 places. So do keep an eye out there, and remember to shop around and look for the best odds that are on offer, and with a bookmaker who's going to give you the best odds guaranteed, including the SP if it's bigger than the price you take. Now, my final choice is in the very last race of the meeting. It's the 6:20 at Aintree, the 2 mile 1 furlong Grade 2 bumper. 20 runners here, 19 of them British, 1 of them Irish, and all the big trainers in Britain have got runners here. Paul Nicholls, Nicky Henderson, Philip Hobbs, Ollie Murphy's got a few interesting runners, and Fergal O'Brien amongst others. But there's a really significant point here, and that is that Ireland have dominated the bumpers for so long. They dominated the Cheltenham Festival bumper. They had 1 runner in the bumper at Aintree on Thursday against all the British horses, and that Irish horse won. And there's only 1 Irish horse here, and it's a horse that really took my attention when it won recently on its first start under rules. And the name of the horse is The Gossiper, and it's trained by Emmett Mullins, who's really making a name for himself, and is the mount of his cousin Patrick Mullins. Now, this horse fell in both starts in point-to-points, both times when going well, actually. And then he made his debut at Wexford only on March the 20th, which is only a few weeks ago. Heavy ground. It was a left-handed track, rather like Aintree, and this horse was well backed. He was backed down to 5-4 favourite on his debut. And really interestingly for me, he went very wide on the track all the way around because it was heavy ground and they were looking for better ground. So clearly they've been worried that the horse wouldn't handle the really deep ground, but he did. And once he was asked to go about his business, he really picked up, although he was a little bit green, and he stayed on very strongly to the line. Now, the yard, Emmett Mullins' yard, has been in wonderful form. They've been doing great things this season. They, of course, won the big bonus, including the win at the Cheltenham Festival with the shunter, who was subsequently bought by JP McManus. And this horse, I think, is a horse who can also keep the yard on the map. They're a punting yard. And when I had a look at this horse on Thursday evening, I noticed that the only firm that were offering early prices was William Hill. And I was taken aback when I saw 12-1 on offer. I got up Friday morning and Hills are now only 5-1. So they've obviously been stung. Now they're the only firm up, so they're not taking a chance. The horse may well go a little bit bigger, but then again, it may shorten. And my advice for this horse is if it is 5-1 or bigger, then get on each way. 4 places with William Hills and there'll be other firms. But if there is a real massive punt on him and he's a shorter price than 5-1, I'd probably let it go and not bother. But if he's 5-1 or bigger, then the Gossiper, I think, is one that is one very much to have on your side. And so he would be my final runner of the meeting if he is a reasonable each way price. So there we have it, my Grand National Day advice. If you're new to racing, I hope you enjoy the experience of having a bet. If you're one of my regular follows, well, let's hope that we continue to do well and that we see some profits both on Friday and for this Grand National Bulletin. Remember, I'll be with you for all the big meetings and, of course, with my weekend racing tips. Remember to subscribe if you haven't already done so. A very big thanks again to our sponsors, thestakeshop.co.uk. And let's keep fingers really firmly crossed that all the runners in the Grand National on Saturday, both horses and jockeys, come back safely. Enjoy the world's greatest steeplechase. And from me, Paul Alster, bye-bye for now. Good luck.